We are live for a new episode of the Electrek podcast. I am Fred Lambert, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by Seth Wincham. How are you doing this week, Seth?
I'm good.
All right, let's jump right in. We have just one Tesla article this week, which is going to please a lot of you guys who don't like to talk about it too much. I mean, we wrote plenty of other articles this week about Tesla, but mainly about like people leaving and things like that. Things that aren't, I don't think it's worth mentioning in the podcast. But the big one this week was this Digital Optimus stuff. And I mean, it's I mean, I wrote the whole article about it and still have issues understanding what it is exactly. The whole thing is happening amid this kind of complete breakdown that's happening at xAI right now. You even had Elon yesterday admitting that xAI was built wrong from the start and now it needs to be rebuilt completely. It follows a ton of people exiting the company. Literally 10 out of the 12 co-founders have left the company in the last few months. A ton of important people have left. And now last week we discussed about this thing going on where the Optimus brain might be developed by xAI, something that Elon has previously said would not happen. And now he's confirmed it and went a little bit further, kind of merging two things together. What he now calls Digital Optimus, so basically the brain of Optimus, and Micro Hard. So for those people who don't know, Micro Hard is Elon's incredibly funny take on Microsoft, and it's the goal of basically using AI to recreate all of the Microsoft software tool through AI to steal their business. It's nothing ingenious. It's something that basically all AI companies have been doing. Claude has, destroyed like 6 different industries by the time I've finished that sentence. Basically, just recreating the software is worthless right now. Basically, like if you have software, you can just recreate it with AI with a few effort. And he wants to do that, but the thing is that this xAI is far behind the competition compared to the frontier labs right now, Google, Anthropic, which is Claude, and OpenAI, obviously. If you look at the more respected kind of AI leaderboard, and this is, we can argue about that all day because there's a lot of different leaderboards and whatnot, but I think RKGI is probably, especially second generation, is the most respected one, and you can see from there that Grok is lagging behind those other models on performance and cost. And Elon has been kind of raging about that lately, and there's been a few reports coming out in the media this week saying that he's very concerned about it, and he finally admitted this week that they need to basically rehaul the entire company. But the weirdest thing about that is that 6 weeks ago they had Tesla invest $2 billion in a company, then they had SpaceX basically bail out xAI at a full valuation, like no drop to the previous round that happened just before. And were they aware? Were Tesla investor made aware that the company needed a full overhaul? Did SpaceX investor were made aware of that? It's unclear really, because that is kind of material information. And the frustrating part with all this is that like this is basically a bailout from everyone. If you have a 401k, if you're invested in an index fund, you're invested in Tesla because it is one of the biggest companies in the US and it's in all index. So you kind of bailed out Elon's failed AI experiment, which should have been, according to many Tesla shareholders, built within Tesla anyway since the start. And this is the point of contention in this article here, where now this new Digital Optimus, which is kind of being merged with Micro Hard, even though I don't see a direct link to it. And there's a few facets to this. So basically, Elon wants to merge the effort with xAI and Tesla to develop this new intelligence. And but for the most part, it sounds like any other AI agents that have been released in the last few months, most like Claude co-work, Claude code, and like OpenAI Codex. Like they want to be building that. Elon says it's going to be ready in 6 months, so it looks like they are a year behind at least, because these things have been out for a bit now. And now we just got a report from Financial Times building on this report here that even a shock, Tesla's head of full self-driving in Optimus now has been deployed at xAI to lead this effort too. So literally, arguably the most important engineer at Tesla, because autonomy is supposedly the most important thing at Tesla right now. The head of that is now also working on this thing on top of it all. That's being stretched quite thin.
I'm sure the board is going to jump all over that, right?
I mean, if you had any semblance of decent governance, I don't even know how these things are illegal right now. Like just literally using top resources at your public company that you're in charge of, that you have fiduciary duty of, to save what is now your private company, xAI/SpaceX, which is the same thing, which is not Tesla. I know that Tesla is now invested in it, but even the shareholders voted against that. Like, it makes no sense beginning to end. Then Elon also mentioned the Tesla self-driving chip. So he said this whole micro Digital Optimus going to run on that, and said that even in the cars, even you're going to be able to tap that from the vehicles, which is something Elon has discussed before. I mean, if it's the same thing, because he's not using the exact same language here, but I'm assuming that he wants to use your in-car computers when you're not using FSD to run inference for this Digital Optimus AI, and assuming you get compensated for it, even though there's no details. If I don't sound very convinced, it's because I think it's just the latest grift. Like we go from FSD to Optimus to inference in cars, from Mars to the moon to all that. Elon seems to be completely out of control, losing grasp of reality, and trying to hold on to anything that makes sense. Especially, I think this is all leading to the SpaceX IPO that supposedly is going to come as soon as in the next 3 months or so, which is also going to be a crazy deal, because rumors is that he's aiming for a $1.5 to $1.75 trillion valuation, and he's had a few of the markets compete for it, a few of the index, and the contingent that he had, if you want, like if the Nasdaq, for example, the Nasdaq is apparently the leader right now, wants to win the IPO, they have to include them in the index, Nasdaq 100, right away, instantly, which has never been done before, for good reason, because you need to IPO, and then the market has to figure out the price of that thing. In this case, SpaceX, especially a big IPO like that. And then once they figured out that price, then maybe you're included in the index if you are eligible based on all the index criteria. Makes sense, right? But if you speed run that and you do it right away, the problem with that is now you force all the index fund that tracks the Nasdaq 100 to buy up into that company, boosting the price immensely. So you don't have the real price adjusted on the market, on the public market, because of that, artificial like force demand for it. And then that all happens before the lockup period of people like Elon and like other investors that can dump all of that on the market now at a made up price, and potentially even crash the whole market, because we're talking about such a big price here. So this seems to be the goal here, which is pretty scary if you ask me. And to get momentum around all that, what they need, obviously SpaceX is focused on the moon now. They've given up on Mars for now, but so the moon is the target, and data centers in space now is also the
is that really a goal, or is that just like
oh yeah he's all in on that. Yeah. He's, even though everyone serious I've talked to that's not invested in this, that are familiar with data center and the need of AI, are like, makes no sense. And
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the math just doesn't add up. So that's the thing on the SpaceX side. On the xAI side is the Digital Optimus thing, which is now attached to Tesla. So he's dragging Tesla into the whole thing, which is obviously invested in the SpaceX xAI stuff. So crazy nonsense. All right, we already spent 10 minutes on this. It's more than I wanted to do. I think it's something that everyone should be aware of because it's happening, and it's there's no regulator that's going to stop this at this point right now. So it might literally, on top of everything else that's happening with the crude oil at $100 a barrel, everything could be a bad time for a little bit. So I just want to.
Well, ironically, now would be a good time for electric vehicle manufacturers, theoretically, if oil does go up. But that's not really Tesla's game anymore. They're just building robots.
Exactly. One of Tesla's like biggest boosts back in the day, like I don't remember which period was it, but there was a big spike in oil prices.
Yep.
And I mean, was it the war? Are we 3 years into the war now already? Like 20? Yeah, it was. The Ukraine war was 2022 that it started.
I don't know, man. Too many wars.
So many things have happened since. But the price of oil went crazy up at that point, and that helped Tesla quite a bit. They saw a big surge in demand at the time, and that was a time where Tesla still cared about making electric vehicles. But now there's alternative. There's other companies that are taking the torch, and Rivian is one of them, and hasn't been taken seriously by the wider market because of the price range. It's an expensive vehicle, the R1s, but now the R2 is the vehicle that's going to propel Rivian in a whole new category and make them, first of all, also bring them to other markets because they've been limited to the North American market right now. And this is going to be the vehicle that launched them in Europe and other places. I'm talking about the R2. So it's the full-size SUV, mid-size SUV. Some people call it a crossover, but I think it makes no sense for this one. Like, it looks like an SUV. It's the size of an SUV. It's pretty much an SUV. And what we had this week is we had the final specs, most of the specs at least, and the pricing for the entire lineup. And the good news is that they respected their price since the launch, the original launch. They stuck to it. So let's start with that. So right now, because this thing is already in production, or at least low volume production, and the actual first deliveries are expected this spring, so just a few months to a few weeks away. And of course they start with the more high-end version of the R2, which is the performance all-wheel drive with the launch package, which includes a bunch of features together. That is $58,000, so that's not cheap. But once that is gone and they have filled out the production, the demand for the launch edition, then you have the premium all-wheel drive that will launch, which is $54,000. So still expensive, but it's comparable to like the performance Model Y. And then you have the standard rear-wheel drive long range, which is $48,500, which is pretty good. And then you have the standard rear-wheel drive at $45,000, which was the base price that was originally announced, and that's not coming until the end of next year. By the way, I should have said the other ones too. So late 2026 for the dual motor all-wheel drive premium. Rear-wheel drive long range is early 2027, so early next year, and then late next year for the standard one. For the specs, so that performance dual motor version, is 3.6 seconds 0 to 60, 88 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's going to be good enough, and that's EPA estimated range, 330 miles of range. So that's more than decent. Then you have the premium all-wheel drive version, same battery pack, 4.6 seconds, so you lose a seconds of speed versus the performance version. 330 miles of range also, so you get the same range out of it. $54,000, like I said. So this is a good offering. There's going to be something that's going to compete, let's say, with like the new BMW i3, for example. Not iX3, sorry.
iX3,
yeah. And then the standard long range, same battery pack, 5.9 seconds. So you just have a single motor. It's slower, but not incredibly slow. It's the longest range version of it at 345 miles of range, but that's not EP estimated. Like I said, this is coming a little bit later, so they haven't done the EP on it yet. But Rivian expect a 15-mile gain with a single motor, and that's the 48,501. So this is probably best value one, and then it's a big jump, though, let's admit it, to gain an all-wheel drive dual motor from 48 to 54.
I'm impressed probably most of all by, we're talking about an 88 kilowatt hour battery and getting a all-wheel drive, big wheels, truck looking SUV. This is not a, car that's jacked up like a Model X, right? It's a, all-wheel drive off-road vehicle, and getting 300 plus miles out of just 80, like not even 100 kilowatt hour battery. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you're right. They've made some improvement on efficiency here, because this is, like I said, it is a full SUV, like a mid-size SUV they call it, but it has the form factor
tall.
It's tall, it has a big back. It has also nice utility features like the open the rear window like that. It's I think it's powered too, and so you can have extended things inside of it. Your dog can enjoy it too. So it's a fully featured SUV. It's not like the Model Y is extremely well designed vehicle and very utilitarian in many ways, but it's not an SUV. Let's be honest. You still have a frunk on it too. You have NACS as standard on it. Looks like Tesla would have designed that too. Like, it's a very sleek charging situation. All right, some other specs here that we're mentioning. So semi-active suspension. You still get the incredible colors that Rivian has, including their superb interior, all premium interior with birch wood accent and black Crater signature. Heated and ventilated front seat, heated rear outboard seats, heated steering wheel. So, it's still a premium vehicle. You have the premium audio system in there, and so that's for the launch edition. Yeah, that's for the launch edition. The Rivian has made some great improvement to their audio in the last few years. Oh, Jesus. It's the then we have a ton of snow and ice on the roof right now, and I have brand new roof that's an aluminum, and sometimes it just slides off and it sounds like crazy. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Okay.
It's funny, this morning's podcast with Micah from Israel is like in between bomb things.
Did he have to do it in the middle of the show?
No, it was like one before and one after.
Oh, geez. Crazy timing. Well,
yeah.
Thanks, Iran, for waiting on the right time for to respect the podcast schedule.
They're big fans.
Yeah, big fans of an EV podcast. One of the biggest seller of petroleum in the world. All right, what else do we have here? Integrated tow hooks. That's all the package here. You have a lifetime of autonomy plus, so that's worth $2,500, $50 a month. So that's nice for the launch package. So that that's for the $58,000 base price. That's $2,500 already. That's worth it. And all these other features that I just discussed, which are nice too. 10 to 80% in 29-minute charging. So we're talking about top of the line in North America these days, talking about children's toys in China. What else worth mentioning? So yeah, for the $45,000 base price is what caught a lot of people's eye, but this is next year. So we have to wait until we see it, because they say the same thing about the Model 3, for example. And I mean, you can argue it did happen, but for a brief period of time only. Yeah, they have these new colors too. I won't get into it too much since it is a podcast after all. These interior pictures are pretty nice. Like they really took everything that was best about the design on the R1s and simplified it a little bit. Like it doesn't look luxurious, though the seat looks just as good as the R1s, to be honest.
Yeah. I like the rest glove boxes as well.
Yeah, dual glove. I remember when they first announced the R2, people freaked out about that. Like, I think it's useful for sure, but they still have these little flashlight on the sides of the doors.
Yep.
Plenty of
No
room
Bluetooth
for.
speaker though, huh?
Yeah, you could on the R1s. You could get a speaker here instead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
maybe that's going to be an option. I don't know.
it's mostly pointless. I mean,
Yeah,
you
fair.
could just buy a Bluetooth speaker from Logitech for $30.
Exactly. These are the rear seats, which looks pretty good too. Looks very comfortable. Here you see they put the front seat a little bit forward. It looks plenty of room for the person behind. Flat, lay flat, second row also. No word on third row if they're gonna try to squeeze a third row here.
I think so far, no.
Yeah, not so far.
Yeah,
But,
like if you need that third row, you got to go R1.
yeah, so we have all the dimensions here. Maybe we should do a post to compare the dimensions to the R1 and also to the Model Y, because I think the more I see into this car, it looks like it's gonna be a success. I mean, you look at the pricing and the
Yeah, that
specs. You
price
look
point.
at the price point is great. The specs are great, and you don't lose a ton from everything that Rivian has done great with the R1s. Like, it's still a luxury vehicle.
I kind of feel like the Model 3 and the Model Y hurt Tesla's premium things. I think R1 is going to be the biggest hit from this. I mean, obviously, all the other luxury SUVs, electric SUVs, are going to be targets here, but like I think all but maybe 10 or 20% of Rivian's customers are going to be R2 customers.
Oh yeah, I think even. At the same time, there's also an opening the door of maybe you like the R1s, the R2 so much, and oh yeah, you do a little bit better, and like maybe I want the R1 instead. Like it's still a better vehicle, so
Yeah.
I could see that happening and expanding the market over time. But you're right, like but you cannot fear cannibalizing yourself with that stuff. I think you're right. I think it's going to steal some customer for the R1s for sure, but I think it's going to be. If we're talking about EVs here, it's going to be a bigger impact on the premium Model Y. So premium all-wheel drive Model Y, the 50,000 ones are going to be hit by that. And then, like I said, the iX3 is also something in that range that's going to be hurt by that market. But to your point of cannibalizing sales for R1s, Rivian has already taken that into account, and the phasing out the R1S Dual Standard. So the one with the LFP cells, basically, they are unavailable now, or I think they are removed for the website already. Now you can just inventory ones, I think. Yep. So this makes sense. This one that's closest in price to the R2,
Yep.
and you get lower range in the R2 too. So like I think it's clear that Rivian wants to separate them. Like, all right, you have the R1s that are higher end, more performance, bigger vehicle, and then you have the R2 if you want something a little bit more efficient, a little bit easier to park. Yeah, I think it makes sense. We're seeing slowly Rivian becoming like a more mature automaker. And I think this is going to be a big deal. I think the R2, by the end of the year, we're going to have a better idea, obviously, especially once the launch edition is done. But I think we could see something very interesting.
Yeah, I think, besides the efficiency, I think I'm also impressed that Rivian can actually, or thinks that they can actually make a profit on that, because it's such a premium vehicle, reasonable price.
Well, I'm encouraged by what we saw with the gross margin improvement in the R1s. And there's limits to how much you can improve margin on an existing vehicle program without the complete overhaul. And you can argue that the second gen was close to it was not a complete overhaul, but it was a significant overhaul, and that brought a lot of improvement. But I think it's clear that when they did that with the Gen 2 R1s, they learned, they saw a lot of things that they could improve to financially efficiently wise, that they were like, we cannot implement that on the R1, but with the R2 and the new production lines and everything, we can do that. So yeah, I'm very hopeful that we can see, and I don't expect it this year. Obviously, the vehicle program takes some time, but once it reach volume production into next year with the dual motor ones, I think we can start to see some positive gross margin, and I wouldn't be shocked if by the end of next year we see Rivian being profitable. Maybe not. Maybe it depends on market expansion too, because market expansion are very expensive. You need to build out, especially for an automaker that goes direct sales like Rivian. You need to build out your sales infrastructure, your service infrastructure, and all that. We saw it with Tesla when Tesla expanded with Model 3 in Europe. They almost went bankrupt. So it's
production hell.
Yeah, there was a production hell and the expansion hell.
Yep.
All right. At the same time that the Rivian announcing their R2, their next generation mid-sized cheaper vehicle. Lucid, the other American automaker, EV automaker, didn't want to be left out of the spotlight, and at the same time they had their own announcement. And they previewed, so we don't have the full vehicles here, but they did a bunch of previews and shared some details about their next generation mid-size vehicles. So there's going to be the Cosmos, and the Earth. So obviously you have the Air, you have the Gravity, you have Cosmos and Earth. And these vehicles deliver unmistakable Lucid design driving characteristic while embracing a radically slimmer, more efficient approach to manufacturing and cost. So very much like what Rivian is doing, they are taking what they learned from their previous vehicle program at the higher end to go a little bit lower end, more efficient, lower cost, and that's what's going to come. So Lucid is already a leader in efficiency, but so how same range cost sell is $2,000 less. So for a 300-mile range battery pack here, they say that they can do it at 69 kilowatt hour to get 300 miles. We just talked about Rivian getting to 330 miles, but with 87 kilowatt hour here. So you see it on the side here. Obviously, I don't like, based on what we see here, I think these are going to be a little bit sleeker vehicle other than the last one here. So it's not necessarily like a mid-size SUV like the R2, but still. You have a view here of the side view of the, I think that's going to be the Cosmos. Yeah, Cosmos.
Oh, headroom in the back, but
yeah, especially with the battery management system here in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So these, what's the timing on those? Talking, I think it should be an unveiling this year, and they're coming next year, if I remember correctly. But we didn't put in an article. Okay, moving on. Yeah, there was one more thing that they unveiled this week, Lucid, and that's their own little robotaxi concept called the Lunar concept. And it is exactly just what I just said, based on the new mid-sized platform that they are launching for efficiency. They plan to bring robotaxi also along, and they went very much a Tesla approach with just a two-seater, which I'm not sure I'm super excited about. But you know, they had the same comments as Tesla had, that 80% of vehicles for rideshare have one or two people in it, so it doesn't really matter, which is true. But also, just if you design it for 4 people, and when there's 4 people, it becomes very useful. But at the same time, they also have the Gravity, that's already the new platform for robotaxi for Nuro and Uber that they're working right now. So the first one have been delivered already, and they're being they are being converted by Nuro to test their self-driving technology.
I don't understand why two-seaters are the preferred robo-taxi platform. It seems like putting a third and fourth seat in these would not be hard, and it would also be way more useful.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the Cosmos already, which is going to be a 5-seater, I assume.
Yeah.
I'm sure that removing the steering column is not that complicated for these vehicles. Like, just remove the steering column, rearrange a little bit the interior around that, and that's it. You have a 5-seater that's you're gonna be just as comfortable as this. That really makes no sense to me.
And if you need space for a bike or luggage or whatever. Make the seats foldable. Not rocket science.
Exactly. All right, we have a few more news items I want to discuss before we jump in the comment section below. So if you guys have questions for us, you just put them in the comments and we're going to get to it in a few minutes. It can be about any of the topics we're discussing today in the EV world or any other topics that you want our take on. Just a few minutes. All right, we referenced BMW with their new vehicles coming a lot today. And now we're talking about the i7 that's getting a nice little refresh with the Neue Klasse. So that's the new design language, new generation of vehicles coming from BMW. And they had the iX3 that was one of the first one. They have the i3 also coming. They have, a bunch of lineup that's getting the new class treatment. And the i7 is being teased now as getting it too. So we should see that in the next few. The unveiling is, I think, next week. I think this is coming pretty fast. What's the next big show that's coming?
New York Auto Show.
I don't know. I don't know how big that year is.
I'm going.
Yeah. Look at the iX3 interior. It's
wild.
It looks like it's distorted almost with that screen.
Yeah, it's like a MC Escher interior.
Yeah. I don't know about it. I think they're doing too much, to be honest.
It is nice to see cars, though. Like cars, not like SUVs.
Yep. Well, it's a German automaker for you.
They have the iX version of everything, too.
All right. BYD now. We just heard today that they are thinking about building cars in Canada. And the vice president, Stella Lee, has said that so they put aside the joint venture, which is interesting because Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, as when he introduced the plan to open up to the Chinese market for EVs, reduce the tariffs, he specifically said that he was emphasizing the use of joint venture, just like China did. Joint ventures have foreign automakers come in, share the knowledge, build up the industry in China, and then Chinese company can then hire those people and build up their industry from there. Seems fair to do the same approach in Canada, but BYD probably not the best candidate for that, just because of how vertically integrated they are. Like they do everything. They do, like I said many times, they are known for building everything in their car except for the rubber of the tires and the glass. That's it. Everything else they do themselves. So they're not looking for a joint venture, she confirmed, but she said that they are open to building cars in Canada, and they are even actively looking for potential acquisition. So they're looking to maybe buy an existing automaker in Canada, or buy their Canadian operation to take over from there. So
who would they buy, you think?
So in Canada right now, I mean,
who actually makes? I know GM's got a big footprint there.
Yeah, we have GM, we have Ford. Maybe they want to get out. I don't know. We had Toyota. We still have Toyota. I think Toyota is still doing good in Canada. So I don't know if they want to get out from there. Probably with everything's happening in the US, probably the US automakers are the easier target for. I'm talking about Canada operation here if they want to get out. And it's nothing new. Like they've done that. Like GM sold their operation in Europe just a decade ago. Ford had Volvo and they sold it to Geely. So that's we could see something similar happening. It's the door is open, Lucid said.
Yep.
And Lucid is, BYD said, and BYD is moving fast right now. We talked a few weeks ago about the unveiling of the Denza Z9 GT. So it's the first vehicle to use the next generation Blade battery from BYD that has the crazy charging time, 500-mile range, all the goodies that comes with the new Blade generation, and 644 miles of range on the CLTC. Still going to be well over 500 on the WLTP. And it's now coming to Europe. They just confirmed it. The first second gen Blade to come to Europe. Did they confirm specific market? I don't think so, but BYD is now pretty much everywhere in Europe. And this is not, so when we talk about BYD, we often talk about cheap cars. The Denza brand is not cheap. This is still a luxury brand. But BYD has taken this approach now of like we want to own everything in the market. In Canada, it's going to be a little bit different though, because the exemption on the tariffs do force them, or force any Chinese automaker to deliver a big part of the quotas need to be from EVs that are less than $35,000. So that limits a lot of vehicles, because that's 35,000 Canadian dollars, which is about, I'm going to guess like 29,000 US dollars, 28 maybe. So it's, the Dolphin for BYD, for example, things like that will work. The Seagull. So BYD can load them up in Canada and also bring like something like the Denza, for example, to the market as well on the higher end if they fill their quotas on the lower end. All right, we have some bad news from Honda. They are scrapping 3 EVs in the US. Although we just, like, as I was putting the podcast post together earlier, I saw that there was a denial from Honda for the Prologue. So apparently the Prologue is not dead. They say that it's still going to come. But again, the Prologue is a GM car, basically. So it's
it's not a Blazer SS with CarPlay.
Yeah, exactly. So the RSX, the Acura RSX, which was brand new, the first Acura built electric from the ground up by Acura, by Honda, is apparently dead in the US, which is pretty nuts, because last year they literally flew me, myself and my girlfriend, out to California to check it out, and with a bunch of other journalists too. They paid a lot of money to get all of us out there, launch it in the US, and now it's not even coming to the US, which is disappointing, because I thought it was a really nice car. I mean, we only saw the exterior, we didn't see the interior at the time. But
that's right. They didn't even let you inside it.
No, but it seemed like a solid vehicle, to be honest. And now it's not even coming to the US, because we know why. So this report mentioned the RSX, the Prologue, but now apparently they are kind of backing down on the Prologue, and the ZDX. But the ZDX is the Pro. Okay, so really just 2 cars, really, because the Acura ZDX is just the Acura version of the Prologue, which is not a bad car either. Like Seth said, it's just an Equinox,
Blazer.
Yeah, it's a Blazer, but with Apple Car,
which is also a Cadillac Lyric. So there's like this one car is like 17 different cars.
All right, quick update on Aptera, which we like to do every now and again when something comes out, before we jump into the comment section. They raised $6.3 million through warrants this week, which, it's good. It's a little bit more money going to bringing the solar electric car to production, which I like. But to be fair, it comes with extremely high dilution. So you saw the stock crash that day that come out, because it's pretty clear that Aptera is not able to raise money any of the traditional way. So they have to do it the most dilutive way possible, which is this. And, it was 8.1 just a few months ago, then 12 a few months before that. So the amount keep going down. So it's becoming pretty clear that they cannot really tap into the capital market right now. And it's not really good news. But with 6.3 right now, maybe they can bring this car to production, because they have their first validation units a few weeks ago, a few more weeks, and maybe they can start to get them certified and get a few deliveries. But long term, it's hard to see them survive, even though I wish them the best. And it's not impossible. Maybe they are an acquisition target. I don't know. Not so sure. All right.
I hope they get a few off the line. Like it'll be like Fisker Oceans. Like there'll be a few out in the wild that you can see and mean, I think these would be appreciated because there's such a unique vehicle.
I'd get one. I'd get one even if there's no support for it. Like the fixed car, I wasn't that interested in here. But like
No.
if I can buy one even after the company doesn't pull through, I'll buy one.
Yeah. All right. Fat for Life Law says micro hard is the lamest joke I've heard in a while. It's actually macro hard,
yeah.
and it's not any better. Like that's actually worse. Digital Optimus is good enough since Real Optimus is a joke.
You know what was funny this week too with Optimus? One of the other Figure is one of the other humanoid robot company. They posted a video of their latest robot tidying up a room, and obviously there's a lot of these around now, and the main thing is always, is this still operated, is this pre-programmed, or is this actually autonomous? Because the third one is extremely hard to achieve. And and Elon commented on it and asked this exact same question because he couldn't believe that it was autonomous, but apparently it was. I don't know if we believe them, but it's pretty clear that Optimus is also like way behind all the competition.
Right. All right. Ford dealerships are already jacking up the price of Lightnings.
Yeah, because it's going away.
It's going away. I wonder if Ford's having second thoughts. I don't think they are. I mean, we don't know how big the new Ford pickup battery is. I mean, it could just be kind of like a Scout, which they're already delaying their vehicles, but it could be, a battery like 90% the size, that extra 10% having a little generator. We don't know. The Rivian R2 is going to finish off Tesla. They are priced competitively with the Model Y, but they have cheaper self-driving package, free V2 whatever, and a great tow package. I mean, I don't think their R2 is going to finish off Tesla. I think it might be the CEO, but we'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, Tesla has other problems, and it's not like the car business is very much in focus right now for them anyway. I think, but I still think that he has a point there, because Tesla gets most of its profit from its higher end Model Ys. That's its profit center right now. All dual motor Model Ys is where it makes some cash, and that gonna be hurt by the R2. Even if they just take like 10-15% of that market, is still huge for Tesla. That hurts like crazy.
All right, I bet the R2 Premium is going to be a huge seller. I think if they can make a lot of those, they're not gonna have a problem getting rid of them, at least in the immediate.
Yeah, because how many people would want an R1 but would like to pay 20,000 less?
Yeah, and also like R1's a big vehicle. I mean, it's not like an F-150, but it's a pretty big vehicle. You can have one that fits into like a normal garage and a normal sure. Actually, I don't know do you have a reservation? I have a reservation. I plan to get one. Yeah.
In Canada, it's not worth it to get a reservation on these things.
The performance and premium trims are getting 266 watts per mile based on the EPA numbers. Damn good. Yeah, that's pretty good that's almost unbelievably good for a truck.
For the form factor.
Yeah. There's a premium audio option, which could be a removable speaker. Yeah, what would be actually cool is if that speaker was actually part of the whole, like maybe that's a subwoofer or something.
But we saw the details of the premium option for the audio. I don't think I saw a removable thing.
I don't think so, yeah. I saw Electrek article of EVs with VTOL. What about third-party solutions for other vehicles? Vehicle takeoff and landing. I don't know if that's what
vehicle to load. Maybe?
Oh yeah, vehicle to load. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, he's talking about Joe has like an article that he posts every now and again in updates with all the vehicles that have vehicle to load. What about third-party solution for other vehicles? So are you talking about like the home solution, or I know like there's some automakers like you can have also an adapter that you put directly in the charge port and it has outlets on it. So there's plenty of that. I have not tested any myself, so I cannot recommend any. The only thing that I've tested are actually the home solution to have to plug in. And the one that I've been very impressed by, I posted a video and article on Electrek, has been the Sig Energy one. I think it is really impressive. But there's also DC Bell out of Montreal that's doing one too. That's good. Yeah, Decibel. Yeah. And
yeah, those
that's DC and Bell, not Decibel.
And they were at the Volvo event. I think they're partnering with Volvo, and
they have a deal with Volvo and Polestar.
Yeah, that's a cool product. And we also saw what was that company that was started by the Tesla supercharger guy that never
the German one.
It was European. I can't remember.
Yeah, Sonnen.
Oh yeah, that's the battery company.
That's not what you're talking. Okay.
No, there was another DC. You remember there was like they had it for like the Nissan Leaf.
Yeah. I don't remember which one it is.
Yeah, I'll think of
remember
it
the name.
as soon as it shows over, I'm sure. And then also you can get 12-volt, inverters, which old school EV folks like us, we used to when the power used to go out, we just hooked those up to the 12-volt system, and anybody can do that. Any vehicle, almost every vehicle has a 12-volt system.
Yes.
The premium audio is included in the top 2 premium trims on the R2. Have you seen the prices on used Lucid Airs? Some are in the high 30K range. Would you buy one at that price or a new Model 3? I would definitely buy one at that price. That's a pretty good price for a,
I don't know. I would need to check the reliability issues first, because could be a problem too.
Yeah. All right. I have an all-wheel drive hybrid Ford Maverick. I would consider changing it for a smaller size and cost full EV truck. That being said, it's a great truck for the money. Yeah, I mean, the all-wheel drive hybrid Ford Maverick is kind of like the thing that everybody's chomping at the bit for an EV. I hope Ford, they've indicated that they're going to build a small pickup EV. I hope that comes out. They don't drop that or whatever. All right, Ian Smith from Facebook says 2-seaters are the preferred robotaxi form because Musk panicked and repurposed the Model 2 as a stock pump, and now we're stuck in an Emperor's New Clothes scenario. That's an interesting point of view, but is Lucid just in such a copy Tesla mode that they even copy the bad ideas? I don't know.
Not impossible.
I'm disappointed, but not surprised with Honda bailing on BEVs. Yeah,
bailing on BEVs in the U.S. Let's be clear, because they still are going strong in Europe and in Asia, depending where you're talking. In Japan, I don't think it's super advanced on EVs either, but it's very much in the U.S.
Yeah, and they have that really cute one in Europe too, right? The
the retro-looking one, the Honda E.
All right. I have an Air and an M3. The software and phone for the key on the Air will frustrate you if you come from a Tesla. Aside from the range, I prefer my Model 3. Yeah, I've heard the same. Like software on Lucid's a little rough. Question, Fred, if you still have an open line of communication to the Donut Lab CTO, could you please ask him when he is going to release the weight of his batteries being tested in the lab? To date, none of the tests allow his claims regarding the gravimetric density to be verified. Releasing the weight would be the most meaningful metric. Yeah,
I think so. There was another, because I think we mentioned in the last 2 podcasts that the independent test results from Donut Lab. There was another one this week. I didn't mention it. I did write an article on it. It was a little bit like lighter on details. It's just a test of the discharge, the phantom drain on it at a certain temperature, which was also a good result. But again, like you said, we want to know the weight, because they release the energy capacity of it, but not the weight. So we don't have the 400 watt-hour per kilogram capacity that they claim. It hasn't been tested yet. I assume that's coming. I assume it's very clear they've been doing 1 test a week, and they're going to continue through March until they start delivering them in the Verge motorcycle. So I would expect it either Monday or next Monday.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in a motorcycle, it can't be too heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Aptera's latest video was surprisingly scathing toward the current administration, which I found refreshing for a public company.
Really? I
I didn't.
didn't watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
neither. I'll have to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft describes efficient software. I think it's microcomputer software. Just macro hard insinuates inefficient hardware.
It insinuate that the CEO of the company has the sense of humor of a 14-year-old that's not that funny. Because I've seen some 14-year-old that are pretty funny, and Elon not really. I mean, the thing he posts online is just mind blowing.
All right. Laker Sales X says, why does it seem like EV knowledge at dealerships is so poor after a decade of EVs on the road? Is it a structural problem with the dealership model? I think that's part of it, right? Like dealerships really don't want EVs because they don't really require tune-ups or any of those dealership.
Also, people are just incompetent in general. My dad's rule is like 50% of the people is incompetent, and he's probably. I think that's harsh. It sounds harsh, but I think it's technically right. It's not just because like people are incompetent, want to be incompetent. It's also like I think a lot of people just shouldn't be in the job that they are for whatever reason. They don't care. They're not passionate about it and everything, and that's a broader societal issue. But I think it's very true in dealership in general. Like you have some good salesmen, people that know about their car, they care about their clients, and they want to have a win-win situation. You have some of those, but you also have a lot of people that are just stuck. So if you go to a dealer and get some of them that sucks, you're like, oh my god, the dealers, they just don't know anything about EVs. And there's also a broader issues, especially in the US. There's a lot of misinformation being pushed about electric vehicles. Some of these dealership and employees at dealership are subject to that propaganda. So yeah, it's more of an issue like that. But at the end of the day, if they have an EV on their parking lot and you're interested in EVs, they're going to try to sell it to you. Just
Maybe the gas cars first.
yeah.
In the market for an EV and used EVs have lost 3 to 50% of their value in the first few years. Do you think depreciation will flatten from here, making lightly used EVs a smart buy compared to leasing?
Yeah, especially with the end of the tax credit now.
The tax credit was, you take off $10,000 the second the thing rolls off the lot. So that's a big part of it. But there's never been a better time to buy a used EV. And
yeah, the prices are still low right now. You still can find a ton of good deals. But we saw it with Tesla, for example. Like Tesla was kind of the canary in the coal mine just because of volume, and also last year they had such a bad year, also brand wise and everything, that the price of used Teslas went down faster than anything else, EV or otherwise, especially in the US. And we see them picking back up now in 2026 already. Not the broader EV market though in the used market, but I think that's going to follow now. That's happening at Tesla for Tesla too.
All right, if somebody buys a used Tesla with FSD, but it has hardware 3, how likely is Tesla to upgrade that car if future FSD requires hardware 4? Hiring a 2021 Model Y hardware 3 with FSD, I don't think it's very likely.
No, I think you're more likely to get a check in the mail at some point from like a class action settlement, something like that. Then the Tesla will just at this point, people that still believing on about the retrofit stuff is just it's madness. Like you just think about the scale of the retrofit program over time. It's just it would completely freeze capacity of Tesla's service network in a way that's just not sustainable. And there's no solution. And we're about to go from hardware 4 to hardware 5 now, at least towards the end of the year or early next year. So yeah, you're going to be 2 computer behind. It's just not going to happen. How can you expect like Tesla to upgrade a 10-year-old car with new hardware to make it self-driving now? It just makes no sense. Yeah. And by the way, I'm just saying, like logically right now. Obviously, Tesla
they should do it.
They should do it. They said that they would do it. They promised. They sold car on that promise and everything. So there has to be a resolution at some point there regarding that. I'm just saying that logically, also just logistically, it just doesn't make sense.
All right, Gandalf asks, why are all the Fisker Oceans in New York City? I see you're dozen minimum a day. I've seen quite a few in the area as well. I'm in the New York City metro area. I think there was some company out here bought a ton of them. Got some more snow coming down.
Yeah, it was just
Not Iran.
ice. It was a giant thing of ice that just went right back the window.
Careful out there.
Yeah, it's no joke. Like it was such a weird temperature in the last few days. So
all right, do we know when Slate is going to come out? I want it more than what I'm seeing right now. Slate is that Jeff Bezos backed modular small pickup truck. Do you know anything about delivery?
We saw some testing being released this week, but it's still early. Like I wouldn't hold my breath for them to release anything anytime soon.
Gandalf says, struggling to believe R2 range claims. Do you really think it can deliver 330? I would say in the same vein that a Tesla Model Y can go 330 miles, and it can under the very specific conditions. I think the Rivian will be able to do that. And I would note that, my Rivian R1S, if you put it in range mode, it would actually outdo the number. So if the range was 310 miles, you could get 330, 340. It would only use the front wheels, which was not great for anything, but they were pretty honest with their range so far.
Yeah, and the figure right now is EPA range, so it's using the EPA formula. And we know that this is not a perfect one, and we know that the automakers also have a multiplier decision. They are limited in the multiplier decision, but they have one, so they can be a little bit more on the optimistic side versus the conservative side. And Rivian has been known, just like Tesla, to go on the optimist side, so they can advertise that. But like Seth said, you can still achieve it. Depends how you use the car.
Peter Principle describes dealerships. I don't know that one. Do you?
No. Nope.
All right. Dealers are filled with old timers who don't want to be bothered with new technology. I always have great conversations with the younger generation. And the dealer lobby doesn't help. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good factor too.
All right. I doubt Tesla will ever put hardware 4 and hardware 3 cars. Power and connector requirements are completely different. Also, you would need the camera washers and front camera too. Elon did say he will figure out something for hardware 3 FSD owners.
Well, then his next comment is that Elon said a lot, so I think he's saying that tongue in cheek too. So yeah, everything that Elon says now is you have to take it with a giant grain of salt.
And this is exactly what I think. At best, Elon will refund what you paid for FSD with zero interest over the 10 years you owned FSD. That's what a court will probably make them do.
I think the court should technically go further, because I think the negative impact, it was bigger than that. Like Tesla sold cars with people thinking, even if they were not buying FSD, that they had the hardware necessary to achieve FSD. That affects the value of the vehicle. So I think I think if a court, it would be the sensible thing to do. They would be like a punitive charge to it also for the entire fleet, and obviously refunds on top of it for people that paid for it. And yeah, I think that's the thing that makes sense.
Dean McManus says, I had heard that Tesla had developed a newer FSD version that works with hardware 3. Tesla faces big liabilities if you cannot provide a new FSD solution for hardware 3. I think maybe what he's thinking of was Elon said that they're going to work out some solution, or wasn't there something about
the timeline was that Elon admit that they cannot deliver on supervised self-driving, on full self-driving. Then they said there will be a retrofit for it. And then like a year later, he said, actually, we're developing a mini FSD V14 for hardware 3, and then nothing after that. That was a few months ago too. So and to be clear, V14 is incredible, but it's not unsupervised. So a mini version of it is going to be even less unsupervised. So it's not a true solution here. It's just there hasn't been a meaningful hardware 3 update in over a year and a half at this point. V12, so it's over a year and a half now. So I don't, and then the guy that's in charge of that software is now working on micro hard. So it's if you really believe this whole unsupervised full self-driving in consumer vehicle now, you're completely out of your mind. Let's take a concrete example real quick. The robotaxi in Austin, Texas, June, was launched in June of last year. Almost, we're coming up on a year now. And Elon said that it would be unsupervised by the end of the year, within a few months, and it's going to be 500 cars and then 1 million vehicles by the end of the year, and so on and so on. We're almost a year in right now. There's one single unsupervised Tesla robotaxi in Austin, limited to basically a quarter of the city, that's doing a few rides a day. That's it. And the reason they're doing that is because if they were doing more, there would be crashes, there would be issues, and they cannot afford that. That's the only reason. So if that's the reality right now, and you think you can jump to Tesla doing that within their own fleet or own single vehicle, to allowing that within the entire US or even just bigger markets, in consumer vehicles, and all the logistic that comes into that, and all the liabilities issues that come to that with insurance and all that, it's makes no sense. Tesla will never deliver unsupervised self-driving in consumer vehicle with hardware 4. It's just, it won't happen. Stop believing that. Makes no sense. Clip it.
All right. And then one last question. How do you think the war in Iran will affect the EV market? I think it's going to be good for the EV market.
Unfortunately, yeah. It sounds a bit crazy, but I mean, what's the crude oil is at? Is it back to 100? It was like 108 last week, and then it calmed down. Yeah, it's basically $100 right now.
Yeah,
crude oil, $100 a barrel. You know, when it's over 90, it is a lot of pressure throughout the market. So I don't even know just how good it will be. It's good for current EV owners, and I think it's good. As like, if I have someone that I know that's complaining about gas prices, I can look at them. I'm like, yeah, you see, I have an EV, and it's not affecting me that much.
That's what we do, EV owners.
Yeah,
like,
so if you reinforce that into people, maybe they're thinking, maybe my next car should be an EV, and like you think that. But I think as a broader thing, I don't know how good it will be, because at $100 barrel, and I probably keep going up, because I don't think there's a clear plan to end that war at this point. There's never been a regime change that come from bombing shit, and I don't think that's going to happen this time. And did you saw this week? Said there was a report that came out that the Trump administration admitted in Congress that they had no plan whatsoever, contingency plan for if Iran was closing the strait. So they didn't even think about it. It was like, oh, that could have happened. So there's no clear way out of it. So I think oil is going to keep going up, but at over $90 a barrel and going up, you just the pressure, the economic pressure globally is so big that I think it's going to create a down market for a while. And so all new car sales is probably going to be negatively affected. EVs less so than ICE, so that's good, but I just don't know how if it's going to be a net positive overall for EVs.
Yeah, and in the US we have our own oil, and obviously Canada has plenty of oil. But like in China, where EVs are already taking off, they don't have their own oil, and they get a lot of it from places like Venezuela and Iran, and they're
letting the ships get through the strait, though. For the Chinese ships are able to get through the strait,
right? But it's still affecting the prices, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure China's like, let's not do this anymore. Let's just go to EVs. I'm sure they're like, let's go. Let's get this done.
Yeah, and they are on pace for their goal for 2035 to be completely like carbon net negative. So it's, at least they have a plan. The US is just like, let's bomb the shit out of them and see if it's good for us. And I don't know. I don't know about that. All right. That's it for this week's Electrek podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, whatever it is on your app. It helps a ton. It takes a second to do. It's free, and it helps more than you think. We appreciate when you do it. If you're listening on the podcast app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever, if you think we deserve it, if you can give us a 5-star review, it helps a ton. Push up, higher us in the ranking and everything.
And tell your friends.
We appreciate when you do it. And tell your friends too. All right. Have a good one.